Stay connected with Fiat Ministry Network. Like us on Facebook. Stay updated at fiatministrynetwork.tv/feed. Follow us on Twitter at Fiat Ministry Net. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Fiat Ministry Network. Fiat Ministry Network, encouraging all to say yes to Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the Fiat Ministry Show, episode 53. Welcome again. A great show tonight. Talking about the Knights of Columbus, and it's kind of a local show flavor in Geneva. And I just want to first off thank everybody for the support. Norman over in Hawaii, thank you for your support and help. He's starting on the website fiatministrynetwork.tv a Fiat Corner, so you can basically email in your Fiats that you've gone through, but we always welcome anyone to be on the show live, talking about their Fiat moments. We're keep them on building social media, prayers. I know we're really proud of our coverage of protest PP or Planned Parenthood 2016 down in Virginia with Missy DeConte and her family, and just great speakers. We'll have a lot of that aired on her show Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. I just want to thank you again for, coming into the chat room. We will have call-in. We'll do it kind of at the end of the show. So make sure you have the phone number. We'll pop it up on the screen, or I'll repeat it a couple times. So just so you know that we will take calls if you want, or anything in the chat room is great. So I will introduce Mark. Kansatsky. I lost you. Now go ahead.
Mark Kahanca.
Yes, Kahanca. I'll try.
For those non-Europeans, yes.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. And
nice being here, Ken.
Like I asked everybody that's on the show, your Fiat moment, kind of your background of what you've, got to the point of where you're at right now.
Well, like we have spoke earlier, Ken, I was very fortunate in that I was raised in a family. My Fiat moment was from the day I was born. My dad was very into the Catholic Church here at Assumption. We went to daily mass. A lot of times he'd drag us out of bed, and 12 years of Catholic school, 8 at Assumption, 4 at St. John's. And, as typical, high school kid, and as I went through life, I had three boys, and they all went to St. Mary's in Menor and St. Mark's in Cleveland and St. Ed's for high school. And I always believed in the Catholic Church, but I was busy raising kids like a lot of us are, and now my boys are grown, and I'm semi-retired, and I came back to Geneva. I lived in Cleveland for quite a while, and I worked up in Cleveland. And when I came back, it was my...
Mark, did I lose you?
On this meeting, I belonged since I was 18, but I tell you the truth, I wasn't real active because of my raising the boys and being in Cleveland and not around Geneva. But, I went to a meeting, and they said, your dad would be really proud of you if you became an officer. And that's how it started. And especially in this area, at St. Mark's, I was very active in the youth group, in the football and basketball and everything. And that was kind of my my Catholic for, go to church and do stuff with the kids. But here I'm really spread out in the community. I'm at Catholic Charities now, and I belong to all 4 degrees of the Knights of Columbus and Assumption Church. And, it's just fulfilling just being part of this whole community over here. And you can always come home, and that's for sure.
Nice.
It's just like when I left. I'm just a little older.
Well, and, I came from Erie, Pennsylvania, and, that small community is so nice to have, and Geneva is one of those great places to, have a family or just, come back. And now I'm raising my children in Geneva, and, but, the Knights are with Geneva and Madison, right? It's kind of a...
Yes. My dad actually founded this council in 1963, and it was the Geneva Knights of Columbus. But as he grew from just a small group of men in Assumption Parish, Madison really didn't have anything unless you went over to Lake County to St. Mary's, and Geneva's a lot closer than St. Mary's in Painesville. So he started recruiting people from... So it became the Madison Geneva Council, and that's what we are today.
Well, and I think we were talking about it earlier, and we want to express that the Knights of Columbus, some people might think it's a men's club, or we were talking about it, but it is really for the family now, and that's one thing that you're really kind of structuring your section of the Knights of Columbus.
Right, and I said it, and Knights of, and it's, I think, again, I wasn't around the Knights of Columbus for the last few years, many years, but what happened was I think the Knights withdrew into themselves a little bit, and they kind of lost focus. And even on the supreme level, directions coming down to all the local Knights of Columbus is get back where you started. And that's where I remember when I was a child from the 63, I graduated in 75. We were involved in the Knights of Columbus all the time with my dad. We were members, but my brothers and I were almost at every event helping out. And that's what I'm trying to get this council. And it is getting that way, and we're looking for younger guys that they can bring their children, and girls and boys, and get involved with the Knights of Columbus, and they see what we do, and they see that, and they have fun. And it's become a very family-oriented organization. It's not just about the men anymore, and that's what I really like about this council. We have a couple of young families where their guys are coming in helping with our breakfast and our steak fries, and it's developing into what I envisioned what it was back in 1963,
And that's so great that you're kind of getting it back to that point. And I again, prepping for the show tonight, just talking with the men that are most of the members are in their senior years, that are wiser, but they're looking for that younger, athletic and more motivated, that can maybe do a little bit more, because you don't want to overwork these great men that have put tons of time and effort into their lives to really just support the Knights. And now you really want to, and you're selling me, and I hope this will also sell a lot of other people that are watching around the area and throughout the United States and basically the world for the internet. But definitely for the women that are watching tonight, it's not just for the men tonight watching, but for the women to invite their husbands or boyfriends or friends of friends, kind of that situation. But what are you trying to do, with the younger crowd, to kind of introduce them to the Knights?
Well, as I said, right now, we're getting a lot of people coming to our social, which is our breakfast. We have reverse raffles, we have steak fries, and the general public is involved. And we're trying to get the men of ICC and Assumption to come to these events just to see what we're about. That they're not a bunch of old guys just sitting around drinking beer. That's pretty much what it used to be. I mean, what the perception was. And I'm saying, not that they didn't sit around and ever drink beer, but these guys work. Leo, Carl, Chuck. I mean, these guys worked their tails off to get the Knights of Columbus in this area to where it is, And I just go over a little bit. The Knights of Columbus is, I think you had it up there, is kfc.org, and you can see all the literature of what we do on a national level. But the Knights of Columbus has a supreme level, which is out of Hartford, Connecticut, and then it has a state level, which is based in Columbus, and then it has our local level. And most of the, you'll see us like this next weekend. We're going to be at Walmart in Madison, and we'll be there's a grocery store on 528. I can't remember the name of it, but we'll be doing Measure Up. And Measure Up is for the mentally handicapped, and that money all stays right here. You'll get a little 6-inch ruler, and we'll say thank you. But that money goes in a pot, and every cent of that will be divided between Happy Hearts and whatever other. They've been around the longest, but they'll get every cent of that money we collect from the community. It's, we're the vehicle, but the people out there are the donators, and that's, I said, that's just one of the things we do. There's just so much good stuff that on that level that we do.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about one of the things, that you're doing in Ashtabula and bringing up, with women that, with young women that are looking at abortion. Center? Yes, yeah.
Yeah, Bella is a women's pregnancy center in Warren. And they kind of use the internet to get these women that are pregnant, girls that feel they have nowhere to go but abortion. And when you get an abortion, you need a pregnancy test, you need an STD test, you need a couple other tests, and you got to go to the abortion clinic and pay for them. They're bringing these girls in for no cost to their center in Warren, and they're saying, okay, we'll give you all these tests. And then they give them an ultrasound. And their ultrasound is 3D, where you actually see the baby in more of a 3D versus a X-ray type film, And the girls see those babies, and so far they've saved over 500 babies just doing that in the last 5 years. And it's such a powerful center that the lady that runs it once won in Ashtabula. So they started about a year and a half ago. They started talking about it, and it's a Christian base. It's not just Catholic. It's Christian based in this area. And so we had the first real public meeting yesterday. We had it at our console, and the lady that's going to run it is she'll be a former kindergarten teacher. But so the big thing that they need is the ultrasound machine, because that's what gets the girls to say, this is a baby. It's not just a piece of tissue that I can get rid of. And so the Knights of Columbus was going to spearhead this collection, just like with the Measure Up campaign. We would go out and try, and then the Knights Supreme donates money towards $50. They'll match it, basically, is what it comes down to. But the good news is we found out this weekend that the company that's supplying this sonogram machine is giving it to us for free.
Wow.
$20,000 machine for free. But we still have to raise almost $7,000 for ancillary equipment and things that have to go with the machine. So Knights are still leading that. Down the street here for me at the lodge in Geneva on the lake, the State Lodge, there's a dinner tomorrow night. It's already fully booked, so unfortunately there's no more reservations, but they're hoping to get the $7,000, and then they said whatever they get, we're going to file with the Supreme, and they said we're going to be there for the startup, and we're going to be there all the way through, because there's a ton of support in our council for that. And so, that's one of the things that a young man, when you come to the Knights, there are so many different areas that you can get involved in: church, unborn. It's too much to get into here, but you can call me or get a hold of me, and I'll let you know whatever you want to know.
Yeah, and the email's on the video and under your name, and that's the one thing that we were also talking. We could have recorded the but anyways, it's great the live and the atmosphere with everybody in the chat room. We welcome everybody. But one thing I was talking to you about was how we need to not, or you were bringing up that, it's not just from, 11 to noon,
11 o'clock.
or
whatever masses,
whatever when masses, and that's
and we were brought up like that. My dad, Catholics aren't just from 10 to 11. I mean, it really starts when you walk out the door. That's just charging your battery for that hour, and then you're walking out the door. What am I going to do to make this world just a little bit better? Yeah. And sitting at home and just watching the news and shaking your head doesn't get it. And the Knights is a vehicle for like I said, on the front it's just the men, but I mean, if you look underneath the top layer, there's women and there's children and there's everybody else involved in this community that are involved. And we don't do this just with the guys. And I think it's probably one of the best vehicles in this area to really practice your Catholic faith.
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's so great that, and you're selling me, Mark, you're selling me. I'm going to come to a meeting. I liked how you're doing the social that anyone can come, it's
right.
not just, so.
Like I said, last night's meeting was with the Maya people, and we had a Nazarene pastor there. We had another Protestant there. We had Protestants there. We had Catholics. We had, and my son when I was in high school, that they always used to sing, it sticks in my head, is, we are Christians by our love. And that's what that was. That was just love. And, these girls come in, and that's what they do. They don't judge them. They don't say you did a bad thing. They said, getting that abortion, and it's anything from we'll help you restart your life to, if you wanted to give it up for adoption, we'll give you a direction with that. I mean, so they don't just say have a baby and let them walk out. They stick with these girls all the way through their pregnancies as much as they need their assistance.
Well, that's a great, and the Knights are just you look at, we really talk about on Fiat Ministry Network a lot about the men and how important we are in this, as Catholics, men, to really focus on each other, because, outside of church, when do we bring up, work and other situations? But the Knights are a way to build that up even more than just going to a mass is the summit of our faith, but we need to focus throughout the week and throughout having relationships.
Well, that's exactly like I said. We talked about people at your church, ICC, that, you don't know now, but once you become a member, you're going to be friends with all of them.
I probably see them at Mass every week.
Well, you see it, but, you don't have it. It's like I said, that's that hour of recharge, and it's a lot of, inner reflection, and then everybody's leaving church. But I said, we sit together, and one of the complaints that one of my members said that, well, you guys, this was a year or so ago, that you guys don't do anything, and I looked at it, and I wasn't Grand Knight, and I said, guys, we've got to do something. And when I'm Grand Knight, the thing for Knights of Columbus, which was always my dad's ball, is Star Consul, and it's not a star, it's not the trophy, that means that you're an active consul, and I said again, in all these programs we have, you're fulfilling needs of all these programs, and this is set up nationally, so it's not like something that we dream up on a local level. I mean, if you do this, all these things, you're a star consul. That means you're working in your community to make it better. And Knights give, last year it was 70. We have 120 plus, just over 120 members. We gave 7,500 in charity back to the community. And we can grow if we have more members and we collect more. And I mean, that's what we do. We give them, we bring it in and we give it right back out. And we're not even allowed to have any money left in the bank at the end of our fiscal year. Well, it has to be given away.
Well, and I think that's so, great to have someone that would, the men that are there and the men that hopefully will show up after watching, and I'll be there, to really get into a situation that is always positive. You're going to see things, you're going to probably do events that are in the sense of negative, but then at the end of it, you're transforming somehow with either a gift of money or just a gift of service. That's what I think is really great about the Knights is we need to serve, and I know
we do need to serve, and that's, I said, one of the nicest things that I did last year, I remember, was at Christmas time, the Madison Food Bank, which is again a Christian thing, but it's not a Catholic, and the Knights go over and people bring all these huge boxes of groceries, and it all goes to a place in Madison, and we set it up, and then somebody else comes in and puts it in boxes, and somebody else comes in and a couple of our Knights are like 100. They're involved in that throughout the year. And that's it. You pick something you want. Some guys do that. Some guys, we have our Sunday breakfast is the third Sunday of the month, and it's $6 a person. It's not. It's just to bring people in and be a community again instead of going over to a diner, but getting together and just having a good time. And that's. I said there's the Christmas party we do for the kids. Again, everybody's invited. You don't have to be a Knight. The vets dinner, we brought in 50-some vets last. Our first one we've ever done, and I think it was a success. We brought in 50-some free dinner for the vets. We just had, in the beginning of April, our Blue Coats Appreciation Dinner, where all the departments, Madison and Geneva on the Lake, were invited to a free dinner with their family, or spouses for being there, because the only time you need those guys is when something's usually wrong.
Yeah, I know.
They appreciate that. We work with Servants of Mary down in Windsor. We donated money to that. We have a French fry booth at their fireworks night, and that we donate the money, some of the money back to them. The rest of it goes to charity. It's just, I said, there's a ton of things you can do, and I tell my guys when they come in, well, I don't know if I want to get involved. I said, you know what? All I'm asking for is go to one meeting and do one event. Well, and I tell you, once you do two of those, you're just gonna feel the love, and you're gonna feel like, hey, this is a great thing to do, and you're gonna have fun. And we do have fun. We have meetings. Our meetings, like I said, sometimes they last a little long now because we have so much going on. But at the end, we have a little food, and we all talk, and nobody just runs out the door, and it's good. It's a good social event for the men too, because guys need to get together and sometimes just be with the guys.
Well, no, and I love that whole thing about having that one event and having that opportunity to just do it. You don't have to take initiative to go to more than one, or say, okay, just give me one event and see what happens. See what the Holy Spirit, what Jesus will give you, and God will present into that event that you're doing, or even just a meeting where you're like, I like this. I feel good. Are there any kind of tips for anyone that's viewing or listening around the country or on the internet to when they're even thinking about maybe signing up or joining their area Knights of Columbus, to maybe what to expect or what to
Well, what in this area, obviously, just you got my email. You can get a hold of me. If you go to the to ICC, I know a lot of our Knights are there. You'll see me at Assumption. Or if you just want to go, if you're not in this area, you go on kfc.org and there's a link how to join. You fill out your information and somebody will call you. Guaranteed, somebody will call you, and they'll give you, what that's a Supreme site, and they'll route it to wherever you are in the country. So, if you don't know anybody directly, they'll route you to the guy to sign you up.
Well, and that's great. That, I mean, it's all over, and take the initiative to do it, because men, we need to really focus, because Fiat Ministry Network does not really want to bring up the negative. I mean, we'll go a little bit, but there is a lot out there. But I think the Knights of Columbus can really bring a lot of positive to your lives. I think I'm, the more, because I remember talking to a man that actually goes to my parish in Madison, Immaculate Conception, that, he was motivating me, and I just, there's so much things to do. I don't have the time. And that's probably one of those things that you hear the most is not enough time. But, the more I talk to you, Mark, and, I'll see you. I'll see you soon.
Our social meetings our regular meetings are the second Monday of the month, every second Monday. And that is for the guys only, for members only, because we conduct our business during that meeting, and it's closed. And then, at the end of that meeting, I tell you, a lot of the guys come, and you know what a lot of the guys come for? Because we always say the rosary at the end of the meeting. Every meeting, every regular meeting. We don't do it to socials because they last a little longer. But that really is a powerful moment for the guys. I mean, I've more than a few have told me the reason I come is to say the rosary with you guys. And then said that starts at 7:30 every second Monday, and then our social meetings are at 6:30. You can go on our Tom Permanic is our deputy grand knight. He's in charge of our Facebook page. You go to our Facebook page, and he'll have whatever event is going to be on our next social meeting. I said, you don't have to call and say you're coming. Just come. And when you come in, you'll be welcome, and we'll look forward to seeing you.
Well, and that's the thing, and anyone that wants to call in, it's 440-536-3699. If anyone wants to, I see a couple viewers in the chat room. If you have any questions, please ask. That's what is nice. Sometimes you feel that, are they going to, is it kind of a collective, guys, that are we gonna look, find a way to get
not
together?
In my console, you're not
there's gonna be someone. Well, and that's, with greeters that, it's nice to have greeters at Mass. I know that's one thing that a lot of parishes do, that greeting, just saying hi and welcome.
Yeah.
And
it's real, and a real good priest friend of mine runs an inner city parish in Cleveland, Holy Trinity, and I'll tell you, we get a lot out of it. When we're up there to see it, we get a lot of that Mass, because they're inner city people. They're black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, poor. They're just and they're the nicest people in the world, and they can go there and feel welcome in that church for an hour or so, and then they have a little food for them downstairs, and donuts and coffee. And I'm telling you, that's what it's about. It's not about how much money you put in the basket or how much, And I said, some guys, that's all they could, with our console. They said, well, I'm busy, but and that's fine too. If that's all you can do at this time, And there's guys that can't afford to put it in the basket, so hey, they volunteer. And I said, everybody does what they can. It's not.
Right.
You're not judged by anything here. It's just we welcome everybody.
Yeah, and is there a lot of a kind of learning of the Bible study or any? I mean, the rosary's right there. That's great. I mean, is there anything else that you guys do?
Well, that's what I said. That's what the social meetings are for. And if you get it, and I said, I've invited you to talk about this ministry.
Yeah.
And that's what I leave to the members. I mean, it's their console, not, I'm just kind of the ringleader right now. But, and I said, be careful what ideas you come with in the meeting because you're in charge of that. Because that's what I'll tell you. That's a great idea, and you're in charge.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I said, there's a ton of good ideas. And there's a ministry coming in. I can't remember exactly who it is, but going to give a talk about that. But I said, we're open. That's what those social meetings are for, is to bring ministry to whether it be the unborn or whether it be what Tom's bringing. I mean, there's ministry in all our life. You just got to pick whatever you want. And the more I said, that's why the newer members can come in and bring their ideas, and we'll embrace them, and we're there for support. But like I said, if it's your idea, I'm going to make you do
it. I got that. Yes, I got that down. And one thing I always am thinking about with what you were talking about earlier today, and having focus on bringing the upbringing of having your children and going through Catholic school. I know it's kind of an off-topic thing right now, but what can you say? Because I know it's a tough thing right now, and what can you have? Any kind of comments on just Catholic?
It's a tough nut to crack financially for a lot of people, and like I said, I'm a graduate of St. John's, and actually I work with Sister Maureen on projects. So I actually was. She grabbed me and she said, when they moved from Ashtabula, she says, Mark, I need $300,000 or a project manager to move all this over here, and then she got me hook, line, and sinker. I've been her ever since, But Sister will do everything she can. If there was when we were putting the cafeteria on, there was a Hispanic guy that was working with us, and he said, my daughter was going to public school in the 3rd grade, and I drug her out of bed. She cried every day. And one day she was talking to her cousin, and she loves St. John's. And so he came to see Sister, long story short, and she says, we'll get you in here somehow. And he said, she jumps out of bed to go to school. Because it's that faith-based, it's not it's just the whole St. John experience, or it's any, the Catholic schools I was in, and it provides, like I talked to you earlier about, it provides the roots for the tree, and so the tree grows up and it's all good through and then all of a sudden that happens. But I'll tell you, when you get to the next level, those roots will remember where they came from, and I said it's a great thing to bring a kid if you can. And I said, Sister, call Sister Maureen down there. Tell her you heard Mark say it. My kid wants to go to St. John. What can we do? And she'll find a way.
Well, and that's great because I was raised in public school, but I was a youth minister at Assumption, and just seeing their school, just not struggling, but just trying to get by, but the kids were happy. The kids that I've went around and talked to and just looked into classes, they were all happy, and they felt like they were belong somewhere. And I think I hope we can keep. I know Assumption School it's closed down, or is it? Yeah,
the Assumption closed down because it just became a burden, a financial burden on the parish. Not a burden a lot of people were, and I was disappointed. Like I said, I graduated from Assumption myself, but just 8 miles east of Assumption is St. John's now, and it's a beautiful school. It was formerly a public school. We put 500 gallons of paint, a lot of work. It's got state-of-the-art internet, or all the IT stuff is all state-of-the-art. It's a lot of 90% of it was done by volunteers. It's just crazy what happened over there. And the enrollments, I can't say it's double, but it's close to being double what it was when we started in 3 years.
There you go. And that's what it's all matters. And I know the Knights can do so much, and we need just support the lay people. We need to stand up and take a stand, because the priests are they are so busy, and and that's the great thing about coming back to the Knights and talking about other groups. But tonight, the Knights, we need to help our parish priests out and to do any kind of.
That's exactly where we're headed, and they said we're trying to work with Father Bob, and we're working. And bring the Knights back.
Yeah, and that's I really hopefully will see a increase in the the youth, the men that really can take advantage of this. And I know a couple guys that are at ICC that will take advantage, and I hopefully people that are viewing on the internet on our website can take advantage in their areas, because we need to keep going with any kind of.
That's and Knights of Columbus also. A lot of people don't know. Father McGinley founded it in 1882, and it was based up in Connecticut, and it was because they were the Irish Americans that had just come over from Europe, and there was they were the immigrants. The immigrants we talked to today, they were the immigrants. Everybody hated the Irish. So they were a whole community, and the labor laws were what they were, and people were getting hurt and killed in workplace and stuff. And Father said, "Okay, well, as Catholics, we're going to bind together, and when a man gets hurt or dies, we're going to take care of him." And that's how the Knights started. And from there, it developed into. And I said, especially guys, the younger guys with younger kids, we're one of the biggest insurance companies. I don't know if they know that in the country, and we're one of the top rated. I mean, way top rated on the thing. And that's another benefit to the men, is that they can insure themselves in case something happens to them, and the Knights will take care of them. And I said, and we do have one Knight out in Kahanca that has been diagnosed with this cancer that we've helped. And the Knights gather around their Knights. That's what we're there for, so you're never alone. You're never alone.
That's a great ending. I mean, you sold me, Mark. I think he definitely sold me. I will be there at a meeting. One more time, when are your meetings again?
It's the regular meeting. You have to be a member. Okay. Is the second Monday of every month.
Right.
And the social meeting is always the fourth Monday of every month. I said, and that one you have to look on the Facebook page, and it'll tell you what the topic is. We'll have one more topic, and in June we're having a big picnic. Hot dogs, hamburgers, corn on the cob. It's just going to be a good time out in the backyard.
Oh, and that's great. And I think that's just, weather around here is up and down. But, hey, it's the being together, where whatever happens, it's the community and being together and to supporting each other as Knights and as families and as a community. It's beautiful.
That's it. And that's where it all is.
Mark, thank you very much for coming on. I just want to, I will, if you want to lead in prayer, or I can lead in prayer tonight at the end, just a quick thank you to everybody that's watching. We will have all the information on the website. We'll have it on YouTube and iTunes and all our social media outlets. But if you wanted to end it, or I can, it's up to you.
Oh, it froze up. Okay, there you are.
Yep. Yeah, we're internet.
Well, the internet's busy tonight.
Yeah, the internet is very busy. But if I will just lead us in prayer, and we will and end the night in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. Lord, thank you for Mark. Thank you for the Knights. Thank you for the local Knights in the Geneva Madison area and all over that supports us, as in the sense of men and as families and communities, that we can share together the love of each other, because that's the greatest thing, that a gift that we can share is love. And just thank you again for Mark. Thank you for all the viewers. Thank you for allowing us to do this and giving us the grace to say what we had to say tonight, to praise you and just again, give us a great week, and just understand that you are our rock, and all we need to do is follow you. And thank you again tonight for just a wonderful evening to fellowship and to talk about the Knights of Columbus, and give us a beautiful just graces that you can throughout this week. In your name we pray, in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Mark, again, thank you. I appreciate all the advice and all the information tonight. We'll have everything up on the website. We will post this up as soon as possible. Again, thank you for everybody that's supporting us. We need all the help that we can. This does cost money, but prayers are number one, and if we can do as much as we can, just by prayer, things can happen, because I've seen happening a lot in the last couple of months with Fiat Ministry Network, really growing. So thank you for everybody, and we're gonna say goodnight and have a great week, and God bless.